Good morning.
Good morning, Sean. Greetings from Big Sky Country here in Whitefish, Montana.
Big Sky Country. Wow,
Yeah,
and chiming in. Love that you're here. Who
yes.
was it also? Wendy. Wendy's
When,
out of state, right?
yeah, she's in Lake Tahoe.
Fantastic. What a great group of people we have. So, what are you doing up there in Big Sky Country?
Just enjoy. We have family up here, so we're visiting some family and been considering buying some land for retirement. Not ready to retire yet, so my team don't get too excited. Not going anywhere just yet. Uh, but uh, but yeah, so just checking stuff out like that and just spending time with family.
Steve, when you retire, there'll be gnashing and wailing, and that'll just be the
Uh,
sales manager. I don't even know what you're doing.
uh, I love you,
Amen to
brother.
that. Amen to that.
You're too kind, both of you. Liz, you guys are
Good
too
morning.
kind.
Good morning. We need you, Steve. You can't go anywhere.
I don't plan. I'm not going anywhere yet. Just try. It's a good topic though in a way because I was thinking I was up here and I heard a country song and it had this lyric about you have to chase your dream because your dreams aren't going to chase you.
Yeah.
And if I've ever had anything in my life that I've heard real clearly, as a kid who grew up in Detroit, who then moved on to Colorado and spent some time in Connecticut, back to Colorado, and now in California, and of course looking at my sunset where I'd like to be. I haven't made a decision that it's going to be in Montana. Of course, I'm looking hard at that, but it got me to thinking just about all the challenge. If I'm proud of anything in my life, I'm proud that I've always heard that inner voice pretty clearly as it relates to where I feel I need to be and what I want to do. And it's true, like you have to chase it. And many of the people on this call, right, they're chasing a dream for themselves, for their family. And all of us know chasing a dream in real estate is not easy. It is a heavy lift, particularly now. And as someone who's been in the business for 30 some years, 34 years, I know Liz has been in it just as long, if not longer than me. Sean, you've been doing this a while. We know that there's a lot of sweat equity that comes in chasing your dream. But if you keep your head down, keep chopping wood, as I tell people, good things happen. So
That's
just got to keep working
interesting.
at it.
That's something you and I were talking about. And I think a big part of that is actually understanding what your dream is. What does it look like? Because we know the next few years are going to be phenomenal in real estate, but they're also going to be phenomenally difficult. The people who can power through, who have really good systems in place. I don't want to cheat, but the people who are with Compass and have great tools, the people who understand what it's going to take to be successful are going to have huge career over the next few years.
Right.
But to do that, you should have a clear vision, right? This
Well,
is where I'm going, and this is why.
that's exactly it. You stole the words out of my mouth. I think you have to take time for yourself to look at what is your vision. What do you see for yourself? We spend so much time in this profession taking care of others, and in my experience in leading agents, they spend so little time taking care of themselves. I mean, that really is true. They're working so hard, working so fast, that they don't take enough time for themselves. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm talking about the planning that you need to do so that when you're done with this business or that you're ready to set sunset, you know what that looks like. And I guess that's kind of what I'm doing right now up in Montana. What is this a place for me?
Right.
Trying to see what would life look like here. You've got to take time for that. So
It's interesting. I did the exact same thing last week. I was grateful to have a few days off because they're kind of the fifth days of the month, so there's not a lot of Compass things happening, and so I was able to take a couple days off. And I didn't take them off like vacation. Let's get out of here and go lay on a beach. I tested out my ideal day. In my vision, what does my day look like when I'm living my ideal day? And I wanted to see, does this fit? Do I like this? It's one thing to write it down, but you have to go
right.
there physically, right? You have to see it, feel it.
Yeah, you really do. It's like a lot of things in life. You can't learn and master anything. You can't vision, I think, for your life in some book that someone gave you or going to some seminar. You got to put yourself in that environment, and you got to be around people that will enable you. That's what I love about working with Liz and working with the sales managers and working with my agents. I tell them I'm going off on vacation, and my inbox, I've never really experienced this anywhere I've ever been before besides Compass. where my agents to a person will respond, you deserve it. You've been working, have a great time. To be in a culture, in an environment that's supporting you in that way, just so that when you take time off for yourself, you don't feel like, you're feeling guilty. Like, oh my God, how's everything going to manage without me? Well, I think we take ourselves too seriously. Right.
True. We always do.
So, yeah, but it's really great I guess my point of that statement is to be around people that support you in your dreams and support you in anything that you're doing is just so important.
I think that extends to the culture, and that the agents who are here are all handpicked. They all go through a vetting, and part of that willingness to share, right? There's no sense of ego. If you're gone, you can say, here's one of the other sales managers, they're available. Every agent says, no problem. I'll reach out to them.
Right.
We don't have that closed off sense. Everybody just wants to contribute and help one another.
I think one thing we could lean into is how many agents, I wonder, maybe just throw up, raise a hand or just make a comment, but have actually ever done a vision board where they've actually spent time taking a step back and put together a vision board like I did years ago. So Steve, I see Steve, Brent, Wendy, yeah. These are really powerful affirmations that and if you haven't done that, I would encourage, Jason. I mean, I'm just seeing the hands, Jill, Celeste.
Fantastic.
Looks like it's not an original idea, right? But it's so important to do that because that's, to me, I remember when I was in Sweat Hogs years ago and I had my first experience with that. One of the things we had to do in Sweat Hogs was carry on a keychain, an 8x12 in a laminated, those protective sleeve things. Mm-hmm. We had to carry that in our keychains, and it was really goofy. I thought, really, we got to do that? But there was something really interesting about walking around town, and people go, "What is that?" "Oh, those are my goals. That's my vision board for this year." And there's something that is deeply, whether it's just psychological or if that mental block gets busted down, and you have a sense of obligation now to those goals when you start sharing them with other people.
Yes.
And other people can see that's what you're shooting for. And with the people that love you and care about you will say, "Hey, Sean, how you doing on that? On how you doing on your goals?" And they're not doing it from a place of taking your inventory or accountability that way. They're trying to encourage you or find out where you are on your.
It's a loving accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something that's well worthwhile.
Something I was been sharing lately, when we want to make changes, right? Like you used the word affirmation. And I love having one or two affirmations when there's not just general, I'm a happy person or life is wonderful. I mean, that's great. But when there's something you want to change, I want to become better in follow-up. So we create an affirmation. My follow-up is legendary. And then we say it all the time because that's all it really is. You're overwriting an old program that's running. A great trick for that is to have your phone go off every 2 hours, have the alarm go off. And the alarm's name is that affirmation.
I love that.
Well, and you get to bring yours into it. I mean, if you're sitting at a listing appointment and the alarm goes off and you say, "Excuse me," and then you read your affirmation, maybe quietly, maybe out loud, depends on the affirmation. They will ask, "What's happening? What was that?" Well, I'm always trying to improve myself so I can be better for my clients. And when I find something I want to work on, I create an affirmation. And every 2 hours, I remind myself. And it may sound corny, but I tell you, your clients, the rapport will go through the ceiling.
Sean, one of the things I did when I made the decision to leave my hometown of Detroit to move to Boulder, Colorado, I did the visioning thing and all, but I bought a CU Buffalo sticker. The universities all have their logo sticker. And I didn't go to CU. I went out of fantasy. I just bought it as an affirmation, and I stuck that. At that time, I was driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I stuck that in the corner of the driver's side rear window so that every time I would walk up to my car, I remembered what this next year was about, what I was aiming for. So I don't know why, I don't know how. These things just work. And if it's whether you're putting it in your mirror when you're getting ready in the morning at home, or you do something like that, there's just something deeply motivating when you're constantly reminded what you're working towards. Anyway, I know it's small talk, but it's good stuff. It really is.
I'll share a theory on why it works, because I had a coach years ago He said, I can help you reach your goals. And I thought, well, good. I mean, you're a coach. You should. And he said, let me rephrase that. I can guarantee you hit your goals.
Wow.
Okay, now you have my full attention.
Right.
He said, I want you to read them every single day.
Mm.
I said, okay. I mean, I've heard this before. He said, no, you don't understand. You have to read them every single day. I said, okay, what's the trick? He said, there's no trick. Your brain hates dichotomy. Your brain hates thinking one thing and doing another. That's the internal stress that we hate.
Mm.
You will either read it every day and you will act it into reality, or you'll stop reading it.
Right.
The first morning you don't read it, you need to take a hard look in the mirror because you just gave up on that goal.
Mm.
But you cannot read it every day and not make it happen. The brain will not allow it.
Right.
And it's simple, right? But so effective.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's everything. Yeah. I think that must be it, because I know that anything I put in front of myself and I keep reaffirming it works. Whether when I was selling real estate, it was that way. Goals for when Liz and Melanie and I just get a lot of memories this time of year on my Facebook page of the things we were posting in those early stages of what we were shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back now, again, not to be repetitive, but on the heels of our 4-year anniversary, and I think of all that we've accomplished as a company, and all of you on this call, it didn't just happen. You know what I mean? It just didn't just happen. I mean, Robert had a vision, and then he hired people that subscribed to that vision, and he found the support to those people. And then, we came here and we had a vision for what we wanted in San Diego. And, you surround yourself with great people, and they support you in that endeavor, and you have big goals, big dreams, and you need no one succeeds alone is where I'm going.
No.
Robert Rapkin couldn't have built this company by himself. I'm not sitting here chasing dreams that I have because I did it on my own. So, but I think, if there's anything to take out of the call today, I didn't mean to hijack it with dreams and what it means to chase a dream and all that. It's get clear about that, and get clear quickly, because time goes by fast. I sit in front of all of you as a 57-year-old man now, and it seemed like yesterday I just got into real estate, and here I am, and it's yeah. Don't waste time. If I could have if my 25-year-old self could have a conversation, well, let me say it again. If my 45-year-old self could have a conversation with my 23-year-old self, I'd be so much further ahead in many areas of my life. But that's not how life works. So you've got it. No. That's why there's wisdom in people that we lean into and we look up to, right? So listen.
But we can share some of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like one of the things I would say to my younger self is consistency. In small things, not even big things. Consistency is one of the keys to being truly happy in life. And it's a kind of boring. But you have to be okay with the boring. The boring is what gets you where you want to be. It's that consistency.
That's exactly right. Success is the most boring thing on earth because it requires consistency. It requires you committing to certain things over and over and over again. That's why certain athletes and certain sales professionals are so successful. They're not out there trying to find the next new idea or the next new gimmick. They are just grinding away at the fundamentals and the basics. And I understand that when you master those basics, they are the cornerstone of anything that is meaningful. I call it the blocking and tackling of real estate, right? There are certain things you've got to be good at. And you will prospect harder. You will list harder. You will sell harder when you know what you're doing it all for.
Yeah, the why. What's the goal?
Yeah.
So let's do a challenge, Steve. Let's put a challenge out. And some of you maybe have done this already, and if so, raise your hand. But I would love for you right now to write down 2 things. One is a long-term goal. Let's not create the 4-year letter or vision of your life, but have one thing that you're working toward that's more than a year out. And then write down one short-term thing right now that I'd like to change or be better at or do more of or do less of. It's something that's going to positively impact you. And create a vision of the first one and create an affirmation for the second. But for now, start down by writing it down. Just write down one midterm. Let's call that a midterm goal. A couple years out. Where do I want to be? And one thing that I want to change to help myself become a greater me?
Yeah. And be honest and understanding that that's the first step, but it is the easiest step. And I think 80% of goal accomplishment, once you identify what it is that you want, comes from two things: a plan and accountability.
Right.
And accountability is not an ugly word. It is good to have people in your life saying, "Hey, Steve, how you doing? Hey, Wendy, how are you on that? You're starting off as a solo entrepreneur. You've broken away from a team. You're going to be a sole principal agent. How are you doing? Are you clear with your goals? Do you need help with anything?" A great coach isn't someone that has all the answers for you. It's how did that result work for you? Are you happy with that? Yes or no? No? If you could change one thing about that experience that you've learned in trying to accomplish that thing that you're trying to accomplish, what would you change? Do you know how to do that? No. Can I help you with that? Yes. Boom. You get real specific about little things, and that's what moves the ball forward, step by step, literally inch by inch. Because when you go at that cadence, you're strengthening yourself. You're not having like a surprise success, like you took an action, like you did an open house, like I did in my first, this is no bull, my first open house ever. I got a buyer from that open house in my career in real estate and sold them a home. That doesn't happen 99.999% of the time, but that happened to me. And if I believe that that's all it took, if I went on the rest of my career thinking without ever planning on what to say when people show up, and do I know what the taxes are do I know what the school district is, all the stuff I didn't know, but I found a way to sell them a home.
You would have never had the open house.
I would have yeah, right. So
there's yeah, it'll take too much time. Remind me sometime to tell the story about seeing the picture before the race. It's a very on point with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you know how we say ignorance is bliss, and then we usually mean that almost negatively. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. There's so much to know in real estate that we let it get in the way. What if you didn't know it was difficult? What if you didn't know that you were supposed to get a listing every single week?
Right.
What if you didn't know how simple this business really is? There's a thing called the law of few things that I love. The law of few things says that in anything important in our lives, there's really 3 steps. It doesn't matter what it is. When I learned it, it was about being a dad. You want to be a great dad, there's 3 things that matter. Provide, room and board, a roof, food, provide. Be responsible for discipline. Children need rules. And love, which children spell Time. Now, there's 1,000 things that come off of that, but those are the 3. The law of few things says do those 3 things, you'll have great, adjusted, happy kids. With success, what you're talking about, I've always felt there's only 3 steps. Have a goal with a plan. Put that plan on a calendar that's shared with somebody else. That's the accountability you mentioned. And then follow that damn calendar.
Right.
That's it. If you have that, you put on a calendar that someone else can see, and every morning you get up and say, I'm doing this. I don't care what other people have planned for me. I don't care what the appraiser, when they want to meet, or the inspector. I'm doing my calendar because it will take me to my goals, which is what I want for my family. There's the only discipline required, is to get up and follow the calendar every morning, which sounds easy, and I know it's not, but those are the few things.
I agree 100%. And I think I will just say that it's so important to have that accountability partner, that person. My whole life, my father is still with me. My mother passed away several years ago. But I think most of us on this call will understand what I'm about to say, when even as we have left the home and we formed our own lives, how important it is when someone we love so desperately gives us their approval for something. To hear, I'm proud of you, from my father is like the sun shining on my face. I know I'm talking about work now, whether it's seeing Robert last week and him giving me a hug, or Liz telling me, hey, you did a great thing there. I really like the way you handle that. Anytime you have someone that you admire and respect, and these are typically the people you would put in position to help you affirm your goal, right? Or to guide you through that. But when they are there, just breathing that just little bit of breath into your sail, it turns into a 70-mile-an-hour wind.
Right.
When it comes from the right person. So this is why it's so important to surround yourself with people. Don't do this alone. This is a mistake so many successful entrepreneurs make. They don't ask for help, and they don't ask for help fast enough. They just figure it out, and they become great. But what they could be is a shadow. I mean, they're a shadow of what they could be if they go through their life with that. Like, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I can tell you, I've sat in many a meeting and think, why am I not in that position? Or how come I never achieved that goal or that many sales? And, I mean, it happened. Look, I'm just putting myself out there. It happens to me too. And I know why, and I know why it didn't happen. I wasn't big enough, and I didn't have people pushing me hard enough. That's it. So anyway.
The takeaway from that, and it's funny because it was just demonstrated, is that we need to find those people in our lives, but you have to remember that you are that someone in other people's lives.
That's exactly
you
right.
You may not even know it, but and as soon as we said that, I get a text from my wife, because I was thinking my wife is one of those people. She sends me a nice text. I'm proud of you. You are that person to somebody else.
Yeah.
Never let a day go by that you don't build somebody up around you. When you elevate other people, it automatically elevates your life too.
Yeah.
So I had an epiphany, Steve, the end of this week while I was doing my ideal days. I realized we all have a way of saying it. Mine is I want people to live lives of personal greatness. That way it's open. I don't know what your personal greatness is. I just know as a coach, once you know it, I want to help you get there. And of course, I want to live my life of personal greatness. That's my own vision of it. I was living my ideal day. And it dawned on me, this is not the definition of personal greatness. This is just how you want your day to look. This is a step in the direction. I know what I want my day to look, but what's my impact? What's my legacy? What am I doing with that day? That's the life of personal greatness. That's that vision that you were talking about from the beginning. It's not just what does my day look like? Where do I do it in big sky country? Phenomenal. But why? We're all here for a purpose. And we get going in real estate fast, and you have to run so fast in real estate. You have to take a little bit of time every day to pull back and get out of working in your business and work on your business and on you and say, wait, where am I going? Why am I doing this? There's a bigger picture.
Yeah, it's mission, values, beliefs, perspective, right? And if none of us had to work to achieve our life's goal or our vision for ourselves, we wouldn't be doing any of this. So real estate for all of us is a vehicle. It's the end. It's the beginning to an end. It's the vessel that helps us achieve that we want most in our lives. So if you didn't need to work, you wouldn't be here. So you've got to connect the two, and unless and until you do, then you just live the life that is you show up, and the God-given talents that you have are what you bring to the world. But you're not on purpose with them, so you're not manifesting your true greatness. I mean, I don't know how we got into this call today about just having a conversation about this stuff. I hope it's helpful to somebody, but I just know
Montana's motivational, brother.
Well, it was meaningful to me, and it has been throughout my life to just be on purpose with that and surround myself with good people, and to know again what you're saying is absolutely true. What you just said is an absolute truth.
I would love, if anybody's out there that wants to come on or type in the messages, if you've got a vision, if you have something that you can share with the others, that this is where I'm going or this is why I'm going there, don't be afraid to put that in if it's something you feel like you can share. Some of us are getting within not that many years of wanting to go. And even when I say that, I think to myself, this should not be a goal out in the future. Right? You should be loving what you do now. Yeah. There's someplace we're going, but every day should be an exploration of that, a joy. If you're forging through the day, you're doing it wrong.
You hear parents all the time when they have children, and the children go on to create their own lives somewhere in that anywhere between 19 and 22, 23. Maybe they go off to college and they never come back, right? Or maybe they do come back, but most parents will say, God, that went by in an instant. Like it just went by like that. Well, I got news for everybody. Time's doing that to you right now, because when it's all said and done, I'm sitting here, like I said, telling you at 57, I still feel like I have my fastball, right? I've got a lot to give. I feel like I'm in the prime of my career, but I'm not kidding myself when I look, if I were to step on a yardstick and I stepped out to my age, and I look back, there is more room behind me than what I would expect, right, in front of me. And so that's just acknowledging your reality to say, I got to get on with this. And that time is so precious. And you can't, every second matters. Everything that you do counts every day. So, be intentional. And if you take anything, I want for all of you today to take anything from this call, just know that your time is so valuable. And what matters to you is precious and so valuable that you need to just be intentional with that. If you get nothing out of today, take a second after this call and do what Sean suggested. If I could have one thing 5 years from now, such that having that one thing, everything I think I need right now would either fall into place or would just be there. What is that one thing for 5 years from now? If I got there, man, that is something to shoot for. That would cure so many of the things that I want and need for myself. And start there. And then say, who do I have to surround myself with to help me achieve that objective? What do I need to know? What do I have to master?
Like you said, it's never alone.
Never alone.
No
one succeeds alone.
I've been playing with something I heard on a podcast and I'm really enjoying now. In the morning, after I do the morning routine, affirmations, gratitudes, workout, the last thing I do is I create today in the past tense. I'll write down, boy, I'm really proud of how the Inside the Huddle went today. That was one of the ones I wrote this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's written in the past tense to be read tonight. So that sometimes I have two things, sometimes I have 5 or 6, depending on what's going on in my day. But what made this really interesting when I heard the guy talk about it is then at the end of the day, he would read it and grade himself on a score of 1 to 10. But the goal being, like some days it's a 3. Holy crap, I didn't hit any of my marks. I was way off. Some days are a 9 or a 10. But the longer you do this on a day-to-day basis, the higher your average score becomes. You start creating your day before the day's even happened, and you're creating it from a past tense vision. A fun tool for those who want to try it.
I don't know if Liz is still on the call, and if she is, God, I hope I don't mean to put her on the spot, but as someone, again, who's been on a similar path as mine, but has been in a position where she has certainly helped develop and lead teams. Maybe Liz, if there's something that you would share in this realm, because clearly this is something that's been a part of your life, being clear about goals, being intentional. Is there anything that you could maybe leave us with as we wrap up this conversation today?
Actually, Steve, thanks for asking. Because this just happened to me yesterday, and I believe that this has been key for me. I was sharing with my son just some things around what Compass is doing and some possibilities, for me this year and opportunities. And certainly, I was excited about it, obviously, just excited about what I'm doing and the opportunity before me. But he said to me, Mom, you are like a 16-year-old who just got a new car. He said, you should see your face, right? And I thought at more than 57 years old, I'm not, that's the key, right? To be joyous about what you're doing and to find your joy and to be enthusiastic. And, I met with an agent down in Coronado, and I was telling her about a solution I found, that possible solution. And I just got so excited about it. I was like, this could work. And this, I was level 12, right? Yeah. And I just realized that when I'm in my joy, I'm in my gifts. And when I'm in my gifts, I'm successful, right? And so
what a great word,
right?
Joyous, joy.
That's joy, because when I'm not doing these things, you can sink. Right? Find your joy, follow that, and you will be successful. That's my tip for today, because I just was reminded of that this weekend.
Yeah.
Love it.
So today, I guess what you're saying for the people on the call, don't worry about today. Just for today, you're going to go on, your day is going to happen, and like it always does, and you'll be there, and you'll have success today. But for today, right now, think about just be selfish today. Mm-hmm. Think about you, and think about what you want for yourself and what you want to plan for yourself. And starting today, if you've never been intentional with that, commit to it. Share it with the person you love the most. This is what I want for our lives, or this is what I want for myself. Can you help support me in this? And just watch what happens. Just a simple act like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch what happens.
Can I segue off of that?
Please.
I love that. Let's commit. It's a perfect reminder that Core 2, the 10 by 10, the core, that's starting again, a new round for new agents. We were hopeful and expectful, but I think all of us were blown away by the impact that core had on the agents. And that's starting up. The second round will be on April 14th. And today may be the last day to sign up. It'll be today, or if they're not filled. So if you've heard about it, if you've seen it, if you have other agents in your office that raved about it, it's all true. Go. There was Liz, I think, sent out an email. There's been emails sent out. Core starts April 14th. Commit. Where I was going with that.
Awesome.